on track for 2 degrees Celsius warming, and most people can't begin to imagine what that will look like for agriculture. More than half the global cropland will see a drop in growing suitability, and farmers in less industrialized nations may not be able to continue without serious structural support. Society's ability to produce staple crops such as rice, corn, or wheat is of great concern to scientists invested in the issue. These crops are the backbone of our global food system, and rice consumption is estimated to be around 530 million metric tons per year, and just about everything has some corn and wheat in it. Without these staples, populations will face nutrient deficiencies. Brown rice contains fiber, magnesium, manganese, selenium, B vitamins. Enriched white rice is fortified with some other nutrients like iron and folate. Populations with limited access to other foods or a cultural dependence on rice could face deficiencies without a readily available substitute. And to top it off, elevated CO2 levels can decrease the protein, iron, and zinc content in rice. This will leave pregnant and lactating women at an increased risk of nutrient deficiencies, since they require higher doses of all nutrients, but particularly iron and zinc. Pregnant women need around 27 milligrams of iron and 11 milligrams of zinc. Wheat, on the other hand, is a good source of the B vitamins, including niacin, thiamine, and vitamin B6, not to mention vitamin E, magnesium, phosphorus, iron, zinc, and selenium. When fortified or eaten as a whole grain, wheat's our most abundant source of many essential nutrients, and without a stable production, many would amass multiple nutrient deficiencies, particularly older adults and pregnant women who need high amounts of the B vitamins. And of course, corn, containing vitamin C, thiamine, folate, and smaller amounts of B6, as well as panthoic acid, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, and manganese. It's a true American staple. We could probably find this stuff in every single store with food in America. Without it, well, it's hard to say just how many things would change. But we know that smokers, heavy drinkers, pregnant women, and the elderly would lose out on critical vitamin C intake without corn. No doubt, there'd be a new need for crops with more resilient attributes to take the reins. I guess it's kind of a unnerving picture of the future, but it's reality. And the sooner we can collectively accept this, the more of a chance we'll have to determine what this change means for us. So let's zoom in. The city of Boston's home to around 650,000 people, and when you do the math, that's around 1.3 million pounds of food consumed every day. And a future without wheat or corn or rice really sounds like no future at all. So how the hell are we going to figure this one out? Well, anyone who tells you that they have one answer that will fix everything is, well, full of. I think that the solution's gonna have to be multifaceted, and maybe there are ways to make small changes in our lives that end up reshaping the fabric of our society in ways that we can't quite imagine right now. And yeah, I think it's a lot harder to sell an idea that leaves so much creativity up to the individual. But I also think it's a bold way to change the systems of power because I don't really think things are working. And it's weird because the same people who got us into this mess are trying to tell us that they can get us out of it with AI and mechanized farms and synthetic chemicals. But I think I'd rather look to my neighbors for help. Food security, nutrition equity, sovereignty, these are all buzzwords that describe a overarching goal to feed communities nutritious, culturally relevant foods that strengthen biodiversity and create dynamic systems that offer greater resilience in the face of a destabilizing climate. So, what can the average person do and why would they do it? To start, we can reclaim derelict spaces for crop production. We can grow staple crops like millet. It's a quasi grain that's rich in vitamins and minerals. For example, for every 100 grams, it has 13% of our daily value for calcium. It's got high iron and high protein, not to mention its fiber content. Pregnant and breastfeeding women, vegans, and growing children need to be extra cognizant of their calcium intake, and millet could play an integral part in boosting or fortifying their consumption. Unlike wheat, corn, and rice, millet can grow in harsh weather conditions and doesn't require irrigation. It's a highly resilient crop and might be able to play a large role in the coming years. Another example of a future oriented crop is the sweet potato. I kind of like these guys because, yeah, they taste good, but they're also pretty healthy. I mean, if you don't believe me, we can get into the stats. It's rich in fiber. It has 3.2 milligrams per cup of vitamin C, 19,000 IUs of vitamin A, and 11,509 micrograms of beta carotenes. Not to mention, sweet potatoes need minimal irrigation, and it can provide a sustainable source of fiber and carbohydrates. Considering how little fiber Americans get, sweet potato poses itself as a great alternative to the normal American diet. And while fiber is quite beneficial to all humans, it's also really filling. So parents should do well to be aware not to feed their kids too much fiber without first meeting their nutrient needs. And finally, we're going to talk about amaranth. It's a climate resilient and prolific crop, but it's kind of been buried in the American diet, and it's not really picky about irrigation. When I used to work on a farm, we regarded it as a weed due to its well, abundant nature. It's a complete protein and a good source of folate, vitamin B6, manganese, magnesium, phosphorus, and iron. Pregnant women may particularly benefit from amaranth since it contains good levels of folate, and going through pregnancy without enough folate puts the baby at risk of developing neural tube defects. Plus, it's a good source of iron, and that will benefit vegetarians and those who go through a menstrual cycle. Growing these kinds of foods in our neighborhoods is what food security is all about. And while it's super cool to grow, the side effects could be even cooler. People come together over food, and growing food provides a added layer of pride and responsibility towards your community and land. Moreover, it might encourage the elderly to engage with the food that they eat, prompting them to increase food intake, which typically decreases with age. And while climate change is scary and the future is all but guaranteed, I think it's an invitation to come together to reimagine what life can be like. And I hope that food is centered in that discussion.